The following is a presentation of the Women's Football Alliance.
We have made it to the national championships on the road to Canton. Welcome to another episode of The Road to Canton. I'm Brian Sweeney, your host and the voice of the Women's Football Alliance Pro Division National Championship game. Championship weekend is here and the teams and fans have taken over Canton, Ohio. But let's look back at the conference championship weekend, beginning with Division 3. In the National Conference, the Capital City Savages punched their ticket to Canton with a 42-6 victory over the Carolina Phoenix. And in the American Conference, the Arizona Outcast season came to an end when they lost to the OKC Lady Force 24-2. And in the Division 2 bracket, the American Conference's Mile High Blaze will make their first trip to Canton after defeating the Houston Energy 12-6. And in the National Conference, the Derby City Dynamite will be making a return to Canton after a 40-12 victory over the Baltimore Nighthawks. And in the WFA Pro Division, for the second season straight, the Minnesota Vixen are heading to Canton after once again defeating the Cali War in the American Conference Championship by a final score of 36-30. And in the National Conference, the Boston Renegades will be making their fifth straight national championship appearance after this time defeating the Pittsburgh Passion 42-24. Alex Westhead is here to break down the Pro Division Conference Championship games.
If one were to tell fans of the Boston Renegades and the Pittsburgh Passion that Boston's National Conference MVP quarterback Allison Cahill would not take a snap or attempt to pass in the conference final with a chance to advance for the Renegades to a fifth straight championship game, one might expect a wild and crazy outcome. Instead, what happened once this season between Boston and Pittsburgh happened again. The Passion would begin this game on offense, and Pittsburgh would score on their long opening drive with a Maria Fatali rushing touchdown from 7 yards out after taking half of the first quarter away with the time of possession on this drive. If there was one way that the Pittsburgh Passion was going to be able to upset Boston, it was going to be through time of possession. And through the first quarter of play, the Pittsburgh Passion were successfully attaining that goal, having the ball for well over half of that first quarter. However, after taking that one possession lead at 6-0, the Bear was successfully poked. And for the Renegades, her name was Tuuli Kuusinen. 3 straight touchdown drives ended in rushing touchdowns for Kuusinen, as it gave the Renegades a 7-6 lead at the end of the first quarter, a 14-6 lead at the half, and a 21-6 lead early on in the third quarter. Wide receiver, the All-American Adrian Smith caught a dart from backup Boston quarterback Shantae Bonds from 11 yards out to give the Renegades a 28-6 lead at the end of the third quarter. On Pittsburgh's first drive of the fourth quarter, Alyssa George found the end zone from a yard out on a quarterback keeper to pull the game closer at 28-12. But unfortunately for the Pittsburgh Passion, they would not get any closer, as the teams would trade touchdowns for the rest of that fourth quarter. Kuusinen would pick up her fourth rushing touchdown on 157 yards on the ground to lead all Boston Renegade rushers. Maria Fatali would score again from 17 yards out for the Passion. Then it happened twice through the air, as Katie Falkowski caught a pass from Shantae Bonds for Boston, and Marcelina Chavez caught a pass from Alyssa George for Pittsburgh. That would end the scoring for the Passion in this contest and in their season, as Pittsburgh would fall to Boston 42-24. For the Pittsburgh Passion, it capped off what really has been a successful season for Pittsburgh in their first year back since 2019. For them coming back from 3 years away from the game due to COVID-19 and opting out of the 2021 season to have this conference championship appearance against a dynamite team in the Boston Renegades, it's a marker of success for Pittsburgh, and the Passion hope to build on that success going into the 2023 campaign and the road to Canton next season. On the other side, for the Boston Renegades, they advanced to their fifth straight championship game appearance, which extends the difference between them and the Dallas Elite Mustangs, who made the championship game from 2015 to 2017 and continues to widen that gap in terms of consecutive championship game appearances. In fact, no other team aside from Boston or Dallas has made it anywhere close in terms of consecutive championship game appearances. Dallas had 3, Boston now has 5. In fact, Renegade fans hope that after the clock hit zeros on Sunday in Canton, Ohio on ESPN2 at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, that the Boston Renegades will hoist their fourth consecutive championship and add to a all-star Hall of Fame legacy for quarterback Allison Cahill. If there's one thing that fans and players of the Cali War hope to never see again, it's the Edina Hornet and the home black jerseys of the Minnesota Vixen. In the 2021 American Conference Championship, interceptions of Cali War quarterback Chantel Nino-Wiggins would prove costly, and in 2022, turnovers turned out to be the difference once again. The scoring would open on Minnesota's first drive as Jody Williams would attempt and make her first field goal of the season to give Minnesota a 3-0 lead. Now, 3-0 is not by any means an odd score in American football, but in the Women's Football Alliance, 3-0 is a very odd score to say the least, as in this regular season, field goal kickers between the 11 teams in the Pro Division were 4 for 6 attempting field goals, and 3 of the 4 makes were by Kaylee Knightsling and Taylor Hay of the St. Louis Slam. The turnover bug would strike Cali as Chantel Nino-Wiggins would throw a pass that was intercepted in the midfield area by Minnesota linebacker Ryan Franklin to give the Vixen excellent field position. The Vixen would take advantage of it with wide receiver Kaya Segula catching her first touchdown on the year and extending the Vixen lead to 10-0. It's an important touchdown for the 2019 Rookie of the Year as it was her first real game action at all this season. She had held a couple of extra point attempts in the game against the Nebraska Valkyries of Division II over Memorial Day weekend, but this was her first time actually getting involved in the offense, and Minnesota fans were grateful to see Segula return. Minnesota quarterback Aaron Kelly would be the next to find the end zone from 2 yards out on a quarterback keeper on the right side edge, and that would give Minnesota a 16-0 lead following a missed extra point. The Cali War, however, were not going to be denied, and it was not going to be over just as easily, as they took advantage of some single coverage man-to-man on the left side, as Nina Claude would find the end zone for 6 points on just a beautiful streak route down the far side sideline. They would have a successful 2-point conversion, and on the last drive of the first half, Minnesota quarterback Aaron Kelly would throw an interception, and with Minnesota leading at the half 16-8, you could begin to feel the momentum start to shift just a little bit towards the Cali War. Cali would start on offense, and Nina Claude would catch another pass from Chantel Nino-Wiggins, exploiting once more the man-to-man coverage on the left side of Minnesota's defensive formation. It would pull the Cali War closer, but a missed 2-point conversion kept Minnesota ahead by 2 points at 16-14. With a chance to respond, Minnesota would connect once more after a long drive, as Aaron Kelly found Kaya Segula for the second time today, capping off a 10-play, 49-yard drive that took 7 minutes off the clock in the third quarter and extended the Minnesota lead. As the Cali War looked to respond on the subsequent drive, Michaela Soul, a fantastic linebacker for the Minnesota Vixen, would pick up a fumble by the Cali War on their side of the field, and Kelly and Segula would make Cali pay for it again with another receiving touchdown, 3 on the day for the 2019 WFA Rookie of the Year at wide receiver Kaya Segula. At this point in the fourth quarter, trailing by 2 scores, Cali War needed points and they needed them quickly. But keeping in mind their fast, high-flying air attack offense, Cali had no reason to be concerned. They had the ability certainly to score points, and Chardonnay Jenkins would reward the Cali War on a quick drive, scoring from 4 yards out. After the defense for the Cali War forced a Minnesota punt, Cali caught some trouble, as almost fumbling the ball into the back of the end zone, giving Minnesota an odd special teams touchdown. Forward progress was given to the Cali War's 3-yard line. On the first play, Minnesota would send blitz, Cali War would lose 2 yards. Then on the exact same play, Minnesota sent blitz again, and this time Sam Barber would intercept the next Chantel Nino-Wiggins pass, falling forward into the end zone for another turnover by Cali and another pick 6 for the Minnesota Vixen. The War and Nina Claude would tack on an extra touchdown, as Nina Claude had a fantastic day for the All-American wide receiver, adding 3 touchdowns on the day as the time expired in regulation, but it was too little too late, as Minnesota claimed victory and advanced to their second consecutive championship game by defeating the Cali War 36-30, while they will take on a familiar foe in the Boston Renegades.
There will be plenty to do in Canton besides taking in the All-American and National Championship games. Saturday morning is the Cleveland Browns All-American Girls Football Clinic. Saturday night, after the Division II championship game, is the after party with DJ Nicolina. And Sunday, after the Pro Division Championship game, is the after party with DJ Maria. Both nights include music, food trucks, drinks, autographs, and a fun time for all. We'll be right back. The Women's Football Alliance wants to thank their sponsors, KT Tape, Coors Light, Wilson, Aid Nation, Zenith, Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company, Secret, and the NFL Alumni Academy. Thank you for your support of the Women's Football Alliance. Welcome back. The national championships are all set. Let's look at these championship matchups, beginning first with Division 3. The 8-0 OKC Lady Force will square off against the 6-2 Capital City Savages. Last season, the Lady Force lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Iowa Phoenix, and the Savages lost in the first round to the New York Knockout. This will be the first meeting between the teams, with one of them walking away as the D3 national champions. In Division 2, the 6-1 Mile High Blaze will play the 4-4 Derby City Dynamite. For the Blaze, it's their first trip to Canton after losing in the playoffs last season to the eventual D2 champion Nevada Storm. The Dynamite are looking to become the second team to win a Division 3 championship one year and a Division 2 the next. And in the WFA Pro Division, it's a rematch of the 2021 National Championship when the 6-2 Minnesota Vixen play the 8-0 Boston Renegades. Minnesota hopes to avenge last season's 26-42 loss, and Boston is looking to add another trophy to their mantle. Alex Westhead is back to break down the Pro Division National Championship game.
It's all come down to this. After months of practices, weight room sessions, film watching, games, travel, injuries, recovery, victories, and heartbreak, the road to Canton concludes this week. The WFA Pro Division Championship kicks off Sunday, July the 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern live on ESPN2. It features a rematch of last year's WFA Pro Division game between the National Conference champion Boston Renegades and the American Conference champion Minnesota Vixen. Boston enters this game with playoff wins over the DC Divas and Pittsburgh Passion. They're riding an impressive 30-game winning streak, the longest such streak in WFA history, ahead of a 21-game winning streak by St. Louis. For additional context, their current 30-game winning streak is longer than the longest NFL winning streak by the Indianapolis Colts, who won 23 straight regular season games from 2008 to 2009. It would also rank 12th in NCAA Division I football history, with the longest streak in that league being 47 wins by Oklahoma and the Sooners from 1953 to 1957. Their last playoff loss came in the WFA Championship in 2017 to the Dallas Elite. The Renegades rank first in offense, 53.3 points per game this season, and second in defense at 14.2 points per game. Boston's offense has been so good that it has been 3 years since the Renegades have been held to 30 points or fewer. In that 2018 season, they were kept under 30 points 3 times and still won each of those 3 games. Allison Cahill has 974 passing yards this season, third most in the Pro Division, and the most touchdown passes at 15. It's fitting that the championship games are played there, as it's a place where she should be headed as a Hall of Fame-worthy quarterback. Ruth Mana is first in the WFA Pro Division with 12 touchdowns this season, and Tuti Kusanen is third with 10. Kicker Sarah Tully leads in extra point percentage as she's 22 for 26 and 1 for 1 in field goals. Defensively, Boston has collected 2 safeties this season to lead all teams, and Chandra Creech leads the WFA interceptions with 4. Renegade Danielle Fournier is 5th in the Pro Division in tackles with 57, including 9 tackles for loss. Their opponent is the American Conference champions, the Minnesota Vixen. Entering this championship after playoff wins against Nevada and Cali, Minnesota finished their season at 6-2, with both losses coming by a combined 4 points. They are led by All-American rookie quarterback Aaron Kelly, who led the WFA Pro in passing yards this season as Minnesota's first 1,000-yard passer since 2017. While the well-known Grace Cooper has been injured for most of the season, Minnesota's run game has found success in Jesse Haas and Tashiana Washington-Ware. Rookie wide receiver Jackie Radford led the WFA in receiving yards with 576, a full 100 yards over her next closest competitor. 2019 Rookie of the Year Kaya Segula had an explosive game against the Cali War in the playoffs and will factor into the championship game, with steady target Sam Barber providing a safety valve for Kelly when needed. Minnesota ranked 3rd in the Pro Division at 38.5 points per game and 3rd in defense at 14.3 points per game. Their secondary is formidable. Between Ace Tyson's interception and impeccable pick-six ability, and international star Jana Duvinen have made passing difficult for opposing quarterbacks this season. For this year's WFA Pro Division Championship, my keys to the game are simple. It begins on offense. As we know, Boston's offense is lethal and unmatched in terms of output. Minnesota will have to match them point for point and drive for drive. They were almost able to in last year's championship before an interception and defensive miscues right before the halftime break allowed the Renegades to pull away. Remember, that game was scoreless through the first quarter. Minnesota and Boston traded touchdowns, but then 2 touchdowns at the end of the half because of those miscues gave the Renegades a 2-possession lead, and Minnesota was unable to catch up. Second, Minnesota will need to force turnovers and limit connections to Adrian Smith. After a big playoff so far, look for Boston to include Smith early, as she was effective against Minnesota last July. 7 catches for about 75 yards and a big back-breaking touchdown against the Vixen in last year's championship game. Lastly, health is going to be important. Allison Cahill did not play against Pittsburgh, and neither did Ruth Mata. If those two cannot go, it will change the game plan for both teams. But as we saw last week, Shantae Bonds will be ready if she gets a call at quarterback for the Renegades. Now, the Massey rating suggests that the Boston Renegades is a 14-point favorite in this year's championship game, as they look for their 4th consecutive title in the WFA. But will the Vixen be able to upset the defending champions and bring Minnesota its first professional American football championship? Tune into ESPN2 on Sunday, July the 10th at 2 p.m. live with Brian Sweeney and me, Alex Westhead, as I'll be joining the WFA broadcast from Canton, Ohio, as the Road to Canton ends this week.
The WFA is proud to recognize the 2022 MVPs and Coaches of the Year. They will be recognized at the halftime ceremony for the Division II championship game at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium on Saturday, July 9th. The most valuable player for the National Conference is Allison Cahill, quarterback for the Boston Renegades, and for the American Conference, Jesse Felker, strong safety for the Nevada Storm. The Offensive Player of the Year for the American Conference is Tyra Thomas, wide receiver for the Arlington Impact. And in the National Conference, Clarissa Tullis, running back for the Detroit Venom. On the defensive side of the ball in the National Conference, the Player of the Year is Naendi Brown, defensive back for the New York Wolves. And in the American Conference, Jamie Robinson, defensive line for the Cali War. And the final awards of the season are for the Coaches of the Year. In the National Conference, it's Arlo Henderson of the Tampa Bay Inferno. And for the American Conference, Ryan McCulley, head coach of the Minnesota Vixen. We'll be right back.
The Women's Football Alliance wants to thank their sponsors, KT Tape, Coors Light, Wilson, Aid Nation, Zenith, Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company, Secret, and the NFL Alumni Academy. Thank you for your support of the Women's Football Alliance.
Welcome back. Lois Cook is back for one more segment of her fun times in Low on the Go.
What's up? It is championship week. Finally, I cannot believe it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. In just hours from now, we're going to find out who is taking home the 2022 title. But before we do that, I thought that you should hear from some champions themselves, none other than Hall of Fame legends, right here with me.
So, Trigga McNair has played D-line and linebacker for the DC Divas. She has played football for 21 years. Yes, you heard that right, 21 years. We are joined by Sheree Marshall, linebacker for the DC Divas. She has played football for 13 years. And both of these talented, amazing, smart, fun when it's time to be fun, serious when it's time to be serious athletes are in the Hall of Fame. They are legends, y'all, legends. And we are going to talk about everything, but especially what it takes to be a championship team.
Willie Bennett. Willie came in, he kind of just gave us that direction. He kind of taught us. He taught us first, and then he coached us. But once he taught us,
what do you guys want? And that's what he did. You guys do it. And then if it's wrong, I'll correct you. After we got back on the sideline, we adjust and we fix it and go from there.
all he wanted to do was teach us football.
Teach us football.
He wanted, like you said, give us the tools to craft our own stuff.
Because he said we will not lose and we will never defeat. Yeah. That was easy. That was easy that year. We knew we was gonna win because he told us we were gonna win.
That's it.
He gave us everything we needed, and it was a done deal. You're definitely going to get everything from the older players. That's where you learn.
You have to have an upper echelon that wants to give you that. They have to be able to support that and that growth.
When I came in and now I'm the older diva, I'm still giving them everything that I have. Like, learn from me, because you can take a lot of the stuff that I'm doing into your game and be successful. You got to prepare. You got to have the right coaching staff. You got to have the players with the right state of mind. Everybody's got to be on the same page. It's not going to happen.
I made it a personal commitment to get myself in the gym, to get myself in a better shape. And I worked out while I was at work. I wanted to get healthy not only for myself, but I wanted to be able to be healthy for this championship run I knew it was about to take. Working out physically, I'm watching film, I'm working out mentally. I'm texting my coach what happened on this play. We don't have to meet where the team meets. Let's find somewhere to go. We can pick a teammate's house and we can go have our own film session.
I took it personal when they did a documentary and it was like 58. Oh, she's big. She only gonna handle the middle. And y'all gonna put this on TV? That number 58 slow? Alright, watch this. After I seen that, did I go get a personal trainer? I did. Like, I was in the best shape of my life, being as big as I am. I worked out on my own. I did the diva workout. I was ready because I was like, you know, what they perceive me? Oh, just a slow middle linebacker that can just stop the middle. No, I'm going to start chasing these down. And that's exactly what I did. Next season, I took that personal and I was on point. Outside of you taking care of your kids, coming home, making sure dinner is straight, then running the practice, and then doing this, and then reading your playbook after practice, after you put your kids to sleep. It's so much into it, but if you're not invested in it, it's not gonna work.
Your team is also your family, also your village, they're also your resources. So whatever you're going through, they can also help you. So when you have that family feeling, and you know I can call a teammate if I'm going through this, it's like the same on the field. I don't want to let that down. I don't want to let them down.
Divas are a village. Any other team out there in the WFA, it's a village. When you sitting there practicing and dealing and struggling with somebody and your teammates for 8 months out of the year, you turn into family. You are with these same people, so you put in so much work. It turns into, this is my household, this is my family, as well as what I got going on at home. So you respect that and you start treating it that way. So you start living that.
If you can have your family come support you and what you're trying to do, knowing that it's taking the time away from them, that's everything. That's hard, giving all your time to football. So for them to love you and support you, you got people coming from all over the places to see you play. My dad lived in North Carolina, and he came up to one of my championship games in Pittsburgh. That meant everything. Yeah. And then you turn around and you actually see how many fans is in the stand. You're like, okay. I can appreciate it. Oh, we filling up this whole stadium we got. And that gives you more incentive to go out there and want to put on a show. People want to see a good game.
It's so long, it's not even about winning the championship. It's just been overall the family and friends that I've gained throughout. Like, I have a lot of friends in Minnesota, Florida, DC that I've made best friends and still communicate with, you know. That means more than me, you know, winning the championship.
The road to Canton is complete and the national championship games are set. We'll see you one more time next week when we highlight the action on the field from championship weekend. For Alex Westhead, Brandy J, and Lois Cook, I'm Brian Sweeney, and we'll see you next season on the road to Canton.
for watching the preceding presentation from the Women's Football Alliance.